I'm LG Knowles from the Horse Race Advantage Company. Welcome to our website and our video series on handicapping. Today we will be talking about the races commonly known as the Triple Crown races, the Kentucky Derby, the Preakness, and the Belmont Stakes.
Road to the Roses are the Triple Crown races, sometimes referred to as the jewels, the three jewels, the Kentucky Derby, Preakness, and the Belmont Stakes. The Kentucky Derby is run the first Saturday in May, and the Preakness is run 2 weeks later, and the Belmont Stakes is 3 weeks later. In other words, there is not a lot of time for a horse to actually recover, and he must be very fit in order to be able to race in all three races. For 3-year-olds, the race is mostly for colts, and fillies can be entered, and every so often you will find a filly in the Kentucky Derby. But the fillies have a separate race called the Kentucky Oaks, which is run on Fridays, the Friday before the Kentucky Derby. To qualify to run in the Kentucky Derby, the horse has to qualify through open stakes purse earnings. Several graded stakes races at all major tracks in Northern America, sometimes referred to as Triple Crown prep races. Let's see how we nominate a horse to the Triple Crown races. The initial nomination fee is $600, and the nomination closes sometime in January, toward the third week in January. And a horse that has not been nominated in January, a supplemental nomination fee can be submitted in no later than March, and that fee is $6,000. You see the significant increase here. And an additional nomination fee after March can be made before the Kentucky Derby is run of $200,000. And so you must have a real good horse, or you must think you have a real good horse in order to put up that kind of nomination fee. After the Kentucky Derby has run, the nomination fee to be entered into the Preakness is $100,000, and after the Kentucky Derby to be entered into the Belmont Stakes race, it's another $100,000. So in addition to the nomination fees, let's take a look at the Kentucky Derby. The additional fees consist of the entry fee and the starting fee, which for the Kentucky Derby is $25,000 and $25,000, for a total of $50,000. So if he was nominated early, he spent $50,000 and $600, but the purse is $2 million, and the distance is 1.25 miles. So the winner of the Kentucky Derby gets 60% of this. It's $1.2 million. The Preakness is $10,000 entry fee and starting fee for a total of $20,000, and with the nomination fee is $20,600, and the purse is $1 million. Notice that the distance is 1.16 miles shorter than a Kentucky Derby, but winning this particular race, you would still get $600,000. So that's very significant. Same thing with the Belmont. Notice, though, that the distance of the Belmont Stakes race is 1.5 miles, which is the longest race, and there's 1 week between the Kentucky Derby and 2 weeks. 2 weeks between the Kentucky Derby and the Preakness, and then there's 3 weeks between the Preakness and the Belmont. The Kentucky Derby is held at Churchill Downs in Louisville, Kentucky, and again surfaces the dirt in 1.25 miles, and the entries are limited to 20 horses. Up to 2011, there were no also eligibles. In 2012, there will be 4 also eligibles, so that one of the horses gets scratched. One of the also eligibles will be able to run in the race. All colts or geldings carry 126 pounds, and fillies carry 5 pounds less and enter at 121 pounds. Post positions are drawn by non-transferable lot number. On the Preakness Stakes, they are run at Pimlico, Baltimore, Maryland. The surface is dirt, 1/316, And the entries are limited to 14 horses, and in 2012 there will be 4 also eligibles. Again, the colts and geldings carry 126 pounds and the fillies carry 121 pounds. Post positions are again drawn by non-transferable lot numbers, and the horses with Kentucky Derby purse earnings, in other words they ran in the Kentucky Derby, cannot be denied entry and start into the Preakness. The Belmont Stakes are run in Belmont, New York, and the service is dirt, a mile and a half. The entries are limited to 16 horses, and again, all colts and geldings carry 126 pounds, with the fillies carrying 121. Post positions are again drawn by non-transferable lot number, and again, horses with Kentucky Derby or Preakness purse earnings cannot be denied entry and start into the Belmont. Now, in order to qualify, there are several prep races, and they are run at various major tracks. There are various track services, and the various distances and class levels. But in order to actually qualify, you really have to have grade 3, 2, or 1 earnings. Purses for the graded stakes races vary from $100,000 to $1 million, and a win of $1 million race almost guarantees that the horse will have a berth in the Kentucky Derby. Now let's take a look at the prep races. This is just an example of prep races, and as you can see there are several different graded races and several different distances and different tracks and also different purses. Now the Kentucky Derby are for 3-year-olds, which means that there is about 9 months that a horse can actually make these graded stakes earnings. Now, depending upon the maturity of the horse may not actually run until later in the year, and so he will have to actually make up money in order to actually qualify. So what you see often here is that a horse can actually be entered in these $1 million races and qualify with 1 race. So if a horse did not start early his racing career, then he may have come in first or second or third in the money and races more often in order to get his qualifying earnings. But a horse that has a late start will have to go into these races that have a higher purse. So it's incumbent on the trainer and the owner to actually work a strategy where they can get the most graded stakes earnings with the least amount of races to preserve the horse.
This concludes the video on the Road to the Roses races, the Triple Crown races, Triple Crown being the Kentucky Derby, the Preakness, and the Belmont Stakes. In our next video, we will be talking about the Breeders' Cup races. Thank you.